This is the final episode before the Premier League kickoff. We're a few days out, 3 days, or 2 days if you listen to this on Wednesday. The first game kicks off on Friday where Liverpool will face Bournemouth. So we've got an exciting season upcoming. Obviously, I've previously done the fantasy side of things. I've broken down the goalkeeper, defender, midfielder, and the forward positions for fantasy football. More specifically in the fan team contest of the EPL season long. They've got £175,000 prize pool competition. So I focused on that mainly, but in this episode, I'm going to run down the winners of the giveaway. I'm also going to do a bit of a team reveal, and I'm going to put all my strategies and all my sort of episodes into one kind of thing, and sort of build one team based on strategies and stat findings and things like that, and give you all an insight on how I come up with my team, based on everything I've said in multiple episodes so far. And then I'm also going to break down a little bit of the betting side of the Premier League. So I've got some future bets, some outright bets, season-long bets if you like, and then also a few bets for the Week 1 schedule. Let's get into this episode. It's all exciting, ready for the Premier League season. So let's get into this episode. First of all, obviously, as normal, I want to send you all over to my Twitter. You can see here my pinned tweet is all of my episodes. So you've got there my Premier League prediction episode, the fantasy goalkeeper and defender guide, midfielder guide, forward guide, and my fantasy strategy guide as well. So I've also got a lot more guides to help you out on my YouTube. So if you click over to my YouTube, I've got all of them there. You've got the podcast side, the audio, the video of all those episodes. I've also got some shorts, which I've posted for some select players and things like that on price reveals, and a bit of a guide there as well on some short videos if you want to look at some short videos. So head over to my YouTube, drop me a subscription while you're there, like, follow, on Twitter as well. And we're going to go over to the competition, and we're going to announce the winner. So I'm giving away 5 free tickets to the £175,000 prize pool contest, which you can see there. It's here. So there's 5 free tickets to be won on the Fan Team EPL season long contest. All you got to do is like, retweet, and comment free. We are now over. So I'm going to announce those winners now. So we've got 72 entrants here. I'm actually going to do this on my phone as well as on the computer as well, because it's a little bit easier to do on both. So we're going to get the random number generator. How many did I say there was? 72 entrants there. So we're going to enter 92, sorry, I can't even read. So we've got 5 winners. I'm going to write these down on my notes on my phone. Okay, so the first one is 60, second one is 2, third one is 10, 63, 10, 63, and the final winner is number 22. Oh, we've got a nice little mixture there, right? So I'm going to go down through all these on my phone. It's a little bit easier to scroll through. So we'll go 2 first. So number 2 is Stu, who is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to retweet the comment, and if I retweet your comment, that means you are a winner. So you need to get into the DMs. DM me your fan team ID, and then I'll get those tickets sent over. So the first one is Stu. I've retweeted that comment. Next one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The next one is John Scoo. Also retweeted that one. 2, 10, 22. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. That's going to be Trackstar G. And then we're on to number 60. So 22, 23, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. The next one is Steph and Woody. And then the final one is Peter Brooks. So there's the 5 winners. So I've retweeted the comments. So if I have retweeted your comment, again, go into DM me your fan team user ID, and I'll get those tickets sent over probably today, tomorrow, definitely before the competition starts, obviously. So again, Trackstar G, John Stu, Stefan Woody, and Peter Brooks. Congratulations on winning 5 free tickets into the £175,000 prize pool contest on Fan Team. So with that done, I'm going to go ahead and break down my with a bit of a team reveal going. Okay, so how we're going to sort of do this, as I mentioned in my strategies guide, I like to keep majority of my budget for the midfield and the forward position. So ideally, a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3 formation is going to be ideal. I want to go through and prioritize sort of the 90-minute players that are going to play 90 minutes with a higher attacking potential as well, while targeting some sort of set piece takers within those as well. Obviously, having the higher chance of scoring penalty, free kicks, or assists from free kicks and corners. A captain who is going to sort of guarantee me a lot of returns within the first couple of weeks. Obviously, you want to plan sort of 10 weeks in advance, if that makes sense, with an idea of which player is going to be your captain for a majority of those weeks. Trying to keep my sort of defence, goalkeeper area, and also the bench as cheap as possible but as competitive as possible. So I don't want to be spending sort of £6 million on a defender or 2 defenders for £6 million each, knowing that can jeopardise the rest of my attacking midfield. But also I do want to make the defence, obviously the bench, competitive, where I can sort of rotate my bench into the squad, in regards to those difficult game weeks and things like that in the first 10 weeks. Fixtures obviously play a huge part in the team selection, but obviously ultimately I'm going to try and have fun while building the squad. So going back to going through all the guides and things like that I've done so far, my goalkeeping defenders, my midfielders, and my forward guide, I'm going to use those as a bit of a guide on selecting my team. So as I mentioned, the goalkeeper position, I don't really want to go too expensive. I have selected Robert Sanchez in a few teams, but at 5.5 million, obviously I feel like I can save a bit of money by going for a few that are slightly cheaper, but also have sort of the potential to get a bit of a points haul. So first one I'm going to pick is Leno. Looking at his fixtures in the first couple of weeks, in my opinion, these first 6 games here are, they can be very competitive, but at the same time they can also face a lot of shots. Obviously Brighton, they take a lot of shots. Man United have the potential now with their new attack for a lot of shots. Chelsea as well, Brentford, Aston Villa, even Bournemouth as well. They can all get a lot of shots. Obviously, if you look at the scoring, for a goalkeeper, per save is 0.5 points. So if he gets two saves a game, that will sort of at least counteract the 2 goals conceded that he does potentially get. So I think Leno is probably the best budget and value pick for the goalkeeper, but I'm also going to pick Sarr as well. Similar reasons for Leno. They're both sort of in that bracket where they're going to face a lot of shots. They do also have the slight potential of having a clean sheet. But in terms of Leno, 110 saves last year, which is the 5th most in the league. So he's going to be my starting goalkeeper and at a nice price as well. Moving on to the defence, I'm a fan of sort of double stacking defences. Normally I like to double stack. Well, I'd like to go keeper and defender together. I'm not going to put a Fulham defender in there. If I did pick Sanchez, Cucurella is going to be my double stack. Cucurella is going to be one of those players for me that does not leave my team. In my opinion, he's a solid 90-minute haul every game. I think he plays 90 minutes every game. He's also got the good attacking potential for, obviously attacking returns. And Chelsea have a solid opening fixtures list. Palace, West Ham, Fulham, Brentford, those 4 games there. Obviously, as you can see, difficulty is very easy. Man United is going to be a slightly more difficult one, as are Liverpool and Forest. But those first 10 games, a lot of those are very, potentially clean sheet games, and obviously potentially having some attacking returns as well. And then we're going to go down to the Everton defence. In my opinion, this is a very, very cheap defence. Those 5 players there are going to be fighting for the opening 4 slots for Everton. They're playing a 4 at the back. Tarkowski and Branthwaite, more than likely going to be the 2 dead set starters. So I'm going to pick Branthwaite. I think a lot of people are going to be picking Tarkowski, which is obviously understandable because he's a very, very good player. They had 10 clean sheets last year. So, at the top of the game in terms of the defence, only conceded 38 goals. But I think the differential between these two, a lot of people are going to pick Tarkowski. I think a lot less people are going to pick Branthwaite. So I'm going to pick Branthwaite. I'm also going to pick Mikolenko as well, who's there at left back. I think he's left back or right back. Basically for the same reason, the defensive returns have a lot of potential for these 2 Everton defenders, but Mikolenko can get forward as well. He can put a few crosses in the box. He can get a few assists maybe against some of these teams. Obviously, looking at the first 10 games, Leeds, Brighton, Wolves are the 3 games. That's sort of their trial period for me, if you like. If they do well in that, I'll sort of stick them around for Villa, maybe take them out for Liverpool. But they'll be in and around my squad majority of the season if they can keep up what they did last year. And then I'm going to leave the 2 other bench options for now. Obviously, I want to play a 3 at the back, so that's more than likely going to be my starting defence. And then moving on to my midfield, I'm actually going to go for my attack first, because obviously this is going to be the most expensive. There's no way that I do not pick Erling Haaland, and I'm also going to select him as my captain as well. So I think he is the best potential point haul scoring player this season. Last year, obviously, he was the 5th best forward in terms of total points, 2nd best for points per game on average. He did have a few games missing due to injury. He averages 88 minutes, so he doesn't come off the field too often. And just looking back down on here, Haaland again, penalty taker, obviously. So he's going to get the potential goals from those. And then 25 goal contributions for Haaland as well. I think he can potentially have the most points scored in the league next year. I think a lot of people are set on Salah. Me personally, I'd rather Haaland's opening sort of 10 games, especially these 3: Wolves, Spurs and Brighton. Man United can be a difficult game, obviously being in Manchester derby. Arsenal's going to be difficult, but then Burnley, Brentford, Everton, Aston Villa, Bournemouth. I feel like he's going to get a lot of points within these first 10 games, and I can't see myself not captaining him for at least these first 3 games. So Haaland is in. And then I'm actually going to pay a little bit more as well for Ollie Watkins. I think this is an ideal strike partnership. Obviously, that's taking a chunk of money out of my budget, but obviously saving a lot of money with this defence as well is obviously that helps. So Ollie Watkins was slightly behind Haaland last year. His 7th most points per game from a striker. Where is it? Let's go back over here. 186 points for Watkins, so he had slightly more than Haaland. He had the 7th most in the league, averaging 4.9, which is the 6th most by a forward. So he was in and around the top. Penalty taker as well. He's averaging around 83 minutes. He does get subbed off a little bit, but Aston Villa sort of need him to be back to his best. And obviously he was very good last year. 24 contributions, averaging sort of 2 shots per game, 1 on target as well. So he's him and Haaland both having the high potential for goals, obviously down to their shot intake. And obviously that's virtually why I'm going to pay a premium for these 2 players. Obviously Ollie Watkins in very good form pre-season as well, scoring 4 in his last 4 games. And then sort of moving back to the midfield, obviously I haven't got any midfielders selected yet. I'm going to go for sort of a player that I think is going to be in and around the points every week. Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, I'm a Man United fan. He saved me a lot last year in terms of fantasy. These first couple of games are not looking favourable, in my honest opinion. You got Arsenal, City, Chelsea, Liverpool in the first sort of 8 weeks. After that, they have a really nice stretch of games. Brentford, Sunderland in between those two. Brighton, Forest, Spurs, Everton, Palace, West Ham, Wolves, Bournemouth, Aston Villa, Newcastle. So you've got some really nice games in between. But Bruno Fernandes is one of those players that can get points on any given week anyway. There was a few games last year where he didn't get an attack in return, but he was still able to get 3-4 points guaranteed with the 90 minutes that he plays. Let me just get some stats up for Bruno here. Bruno Fernandes, I can see him already. There he is, just below Cunha. 174 points last year, which is the 12th most from any position. Averages 4.8 as well, which is a good average to have. He's penalty, free kick and the corner taker, so obviously added potential for goals and assists with those. 20 goal contributions he had last year with 10 clean sheets. Obviously the midfielders get a point for the clean sheet as well. So 20 goal contributions, 10 clean sheets, averages around 1 shot on target per game as well. So I think he's going to be crucial, obviously. And if you look at the stats as well for Arsenal and Man United, it might not be as scary. Obviously, there's a huge potential for Arsenal to blow United away. But there's also the fact that Arsenal have only won 1 in the last 10, I think, at Old Trafford. So that being added in is a little bit of a factor for me as well. And then I'm going to look for a little bit cheaper options, obviously, with the 2 expensive players that I have there. I'm going to take some price away. And I'm going to go down to sort of 2 guys I have mentioned within my episodes before. The first one is going to be Shad, wherever he is. There he is, Shad. I think he's a very, very good player, and he's a very good value option player. 6 million. He had, look at his fixtures first. It's going to be a tough season for Brentford anyway, so a lot of these games are going to be tough, but I feel like they can stay competitive in definitely these first 3 games. They can stay competitive, even against Chelsea and Fulham. Again, can stay competitive. A few games here where I might think about benching him: Man United, Man City, Liverpool. But Shad last year, let's try and find him on the list. Shad, there he is there. So 149 points for him last year. Where is he there? 149 points, averaging 3.9. He has 2 shots with 1 on target per game. Shad last year, goals and assists, 15 goals and assists, so 15 goal contributions with 10 clean sheets as well. So there is points to be won from Shad. And obviously now with Mbemo going as well to Man United, he's going to be sort of one of their go-to guys in the midfield. So we're going to pair Shad with another guy that I've mentioned in terms of the value spots as well. And he is going to be a Wolves player. And again, he's going to be a player that was behind a departing player. So Cunha was the departing player, but Bellegarde, he played a really, really good part in Wolves this season last year. Started on the injury list, but came into the season, played some decent football. He's probably not going to be anywhere near the top on this list. So we'll just have a quick look for him. Where is he? Bellegarde, there he is. 90 points in total last year. 2.6 on average. And obviously you've got to think about that. Cunha and Strad-Larsen were in the team as well. So those 2 were the main 2 guys for them last year. He has taken a fair few free kicks, so he does get a little bit of points for that. His goal contributions and things were a little bit low last year. 9 goal contributions, 6 clean sheets. But again, Cunha has departed, which could leave the door open for Bellegarde to get the start. He has started the last 3 games for Wolves in their pre-season friendlies. Fixtures are going to be difficult, but again, they're going to be difficult for any sort of the mid to lower league teams. Man City being the difficult opener, which would probably start him on the bench, but bring him in for sort of Bournemouth, Everton, Newcastle, Leeds, Spurs maybe Brighton as well, and then keep him for Sunderland and Burnley. So there's a lot of potential for Wolves to get off to a decent start. They're going to need all their rotational guys to sort of come in and play well. I think Bellegarde is one of those guys that's going to be quite overlooked in the season. And just looking back up to the budget, 5 more players for 34 million, and we're looking good. I'm going to go for an Everton player next, and he's a very, very good Everton player as well. I was very impressed with him pre-season. I was impressed with him sort of end to last year, and it's going to be Alcaraz. He's going to be very difficult to find on this list, but Alcaraz sort of came into the team while their attack was not the best. Their attack was fairly weak last year, obviously with Calvert-Lewin being out injured. Who am I looking for? Alcaraz. Which meant Beto was their main striker, which obviously he's not a profound striker. But they brought in Alcaraz and they brought in Ndiaye as well, who all sort of contributed towards that. 44 points in total for Alcaraz, but obviously came in late, 2.8 average per game. He is going to be in the team a lot more, so 5 goal contributions with 1 clean sheet. 9 goals conceded, which shows obviously he didn't come in till very late into the team. But pre-season he started a lot of games for Everton, played well against Man United in their pre-season game as well. I think he can be a sort of pivotal part of their attack, especially at 5 million. I think he's a very good addition to their attack. Obviously starting off with some fairly reasonable games. Leeds, Brighton, Wolves. None of those really known for defense. Well, obviously Leeds known for defensive contributions last year, but this is a new league and a new team, a new standard they're going to be playing. So a lot of these games they could stay competitive. Even the Liverpool derby could stay competitive. That's always a feisty game. So these sort of first 8 games, 7-8 games, have a lot of potential for Alcaraz, and obviously if he can get on the score sheet a few times to repay me, that would be lovely. So we've got 29 million left with 4 players, so I'm going to fill out the rest of my team. I'm going to go with some defenders again, and there's 2 defenders that I'm really looking forward to watching this season. One of them is, it's going to sound surprising, but a Man United defender, and it's going to be Patrick Dorgu. Dorgu's actually played some really nice football in pre-season. He's got a goal and assist to his name. He's sort of trying to solidify that left wing back position, which is his best position. I think United are going to be significantly better on offense and defense than they were last year, especially defensively. I think they've sort of found their defensive set with Dorgu on the left side. He can get some attacking contributions. He likes to get forward. He likes to get in the box and have a shot now and again. Obviously, like I said with Bruno before, a very tough sort of starting 8 weeks, if you like, which probably will see Dorgu on the bench a lot of those games. So Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool probably being on the bench, and Arsenal probably be on the bench. May rotate him in for Fulham, Burnley, Brentford to see how he does, especially for the Sunderland. But then down the stretch, he has a favourable matchup. But I think Patrick Dorgu can get a lot of attacking contributions for Man United this year, as well as hopefully some defensive sort of returns with some clean sheets and things. And then I'm also going to go for a Brighton defender. I was torn with Van Heck and De Kuyper. I think either or are good choices. Van Heck was pivotal. He was pivotal for them last year. He was a very good player, very solid player. He was their go-to guy, sort of solidified their defense. I think I read a stat out in the defensive episode where I said, actually let me try and find it. I'm sure I said something along the lines of when he played, they kept clean sheets or something. Let me try and find this now. Brighton, where are they? There, right. Stats. He missed just 4 games last year. When he was absent, Brighton conceded 10 goals in those 4 games, but they did manage to keep 10 clean sheets on the season when he played. So he was very, he was their anchor at the back. So if you want a good sort of addition to the team to try and keep Brighton on clean sheets, then I think it's Van Heck. De Kuyper is similar. He's very good defensively, but he is also capable of getting some attacking returns, and he has been known to take some penalties and free kicks as well. So if you want the potential attacking return, I think De Kuiper. If you want the solid defensive angle, then I think Van Heck. So either or, 4.5 million for the Brighton defender. I think that's going to be reasonable for. Oh, I can't click it yet. Reasonable for that price. How do I get off that? There you go. So go into let's look at the budget. 20 million for 2 players left. So as you can see, 20 million for 2 players is a lot. So there's 2 sort of ways you can go about this now. There's the angle of you can buy big. So you have the potential here now to sort of buy Mohamed Salah at 13.5 million. Cole Palmer, Saka. You can also take out one of these 2 and get sort of 2 sort of mid-priced players, or even a decent priced striker. But for me personally, I think this is an ideal opportunity to try and get Mohamed Salah into the team. You could go cheaper, you could go for Wirtz, and then obviously you could go for a nicely priced striker. Isak is touchy at the moment, but for me personally, I think I'm going to try and get Salah into the team. I think this is a good opportunity to be able to do that. Obviously, saving all this money on some decent priced defenders, some budget midfielders here as well. But everyone knows about Mohamed Salah and his sort of historical season last year. Absolutely phenomenal year for him. Ended the season with the most points in the league. I think it was 344. We'll just see it now when this refreshes. 344 total points, 9.1 on average, which again is the most in the league. He's obviously a penalty taker. I don't know why it says he's second there, but he's penalty taker. Averages 88 minutes, so he doesn't have the downside of being taken off early. 29 goals, 18 assists, which accounts for 47 goal contributions. 15 clean sheets, conceded only 40 goals for 15 clean sheets. He obviously gets the point for the clean sheet as well. 3 shots per game, 1.4 on target per game. I think he's a phenomenal player. Looking at the fixtures, obviously, in terms of Liverpool, Man City, you can't really look too deep into fixtures. They're a good enough team to overcome majority of the teams that are going to play. Arsenal, sort of Everton, maybe. Chelsea, Man United in the first 10 games are the tricky games for them. But you have to think they can overcome sort of any team. So I think getting Mohamed Salah and Haaland into your team along with Watkins and Fernandes is very good. Obviously, these 2 players here as well will be the rotational players for my team. But I think they're even good enough to get some starts as well within this team. And then we've got 6.5 million left for a decent, sort of reasonably priced value striker. I have a few in mind, and it's going to be on this list here. I've mentioned a lot of these people already. So Larson, I'm a big fan of Larson. I think he's a very, very good player. He had 145 points last year, which is the 9th most by a forward. 7 clean sheets, 18 goal contributions, averages 1 shot on target per game. Obviously, no Cunha, so he's going to be the main guy in the middle, playing forward for Wolves. But obviously, I've got Bellegarde. I don't want to sort of double stack Larson and Bellegarde. If you wanted to change out Bellegarde and put Larson in and swap Bellegarde for someone else, that's obviously fine as well. You could go for Welbeck at 6 million. 125 points last year, 15th most by forward, averages 47 minutes, 15 goal contributions with 1 shot on target per game. He had the 9th most points per game on average with 4.2. Obviously, they had João Pedro as well, which obviously he's now gone, so Welbeck is the main guy for them. But he's a little bit of a concern with the maybe. I think he's picked up a knock. But the guy I'm going to go for is Ivan Ilson. He's 6.5 million, so he's right on the value. He's under the price bracket. 128 points last year, which is the 11th most by a forward. Averages 82 minutes, but that should increase a little bit. I think he will stay on the field a lot longer than he did last year. Knowing obviously his contributions can get them wins. 15 goal contributions. Averages 4.1 points per game on average. But they've got a nice run of fixtures within this first 10, minus the Liverpool game. They then play Wolves, Spurs, who are historically bad for defence. Brighton, Newcastle, Leeds, Fulham, Palace, Nottingham Forest, who are obviously very good at defence, as are Man City. So for these first 8 games, he could potentially, start a lot of these games. So at 6.5 million, I think he's a very good value option for the striker position. I don't think there's many better around that sort of budget for a striker. So in terms of the team, we'll just swap a few things around. Let's have a look. Do you know what? We're gonna try Alcaraz. He's got Leeds in the first game, so we're gonna try him there, and I think that is a very nice looking team to start us off for the season. Leno, Branthwaite, Cucurella, Mikolenko, obviously saving a lot of money with these 4.5 million defenders. Bench defenders being Dorgu, Van Heck, and Sa in goal. Bruno Fernandes, Mohamed Salah are the 2 premium picks for me in my midfield. Obviously, that's personal preference. If you want to take a little bit of a lower price for Salah, you can sort of upgrade Alcaraz or Bellegarde. And then my 3 rotational midfielders are going to be Shad, Bellegarde, and Alcaraz. And then Watkins and Haaland are going to be the majority pairing striker for me, with Evanilson coming in for sort of Bellegarde, Alcaraz, as and when I feel fit. Captain being Haaland. Obviously, it's probably going to be between Haaland and Salah. I think they're both going to be very high popular players in this game. But that is a team reveal that I've got going off the stats and things that I've mentioned over the past few episodes I've done. The defensive episode, the midfielder episode, and the forward episode. Obviously, you can go back over and watch them over on my YouTube. You can also access them on my Twitter. So if you click on my Twitter, go to my highlights, you'll see all the episodes listed there. Even my strategy guide there as well. When this loads, I'll show you where you can find these videos. So if you go onto my here, type in Sports Talk with Elite Wages at the top. You'll see my nice green logo there. Click my logo onto you'll see the video for the forwards there. You've got the audio there if you want to listen to that in your car or on your run or whatever. Same for the midfielders. There's the audio, there's the video. Same for the defenders and goalkeeper episode. Video, audio, Premier League prediction breakdown there as well. And I've got my shorts here as well, which a few players I've highlighted throughout the episodes as well. David Raya, Haaland, Saliba, Mo Salah. And then also this one here, my strategy guide in 30 seconds. You can check that out, implement that into your team selections as well. Okay, so with the fantasy side all done and dusted for the beginning of the season, I'm going to get into some outright bets and some future bets, season-long bets, whatever you want to call them, for the Premier League. I do have quite a few. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got 9 sort of outright bets, long shot bets for the full length of the season. I will be posting them on my Twitter as well, but obviously you're going to get the in-depth analysis on why I've picked those selections for my bets and things like that. So if you want a quick recap on what the bets are going to be, I will be posting them on my Twitter. So obviously, again, make sure you're following. Got notifications on so you don't miss them. But the first one is going to be Man City to win the Premier League. What I'm going to do is I'll list them all off first, and I'll go back through and I'll sort of say why I'm going to make those selections. So first one, Man City to win the Premier League. That's going to be odds of 4.00. Man City to win one or more major trophy this year. That's at 1.9 odds. Aston Villa top 6 finish. That's going to be at 2.5 odds. 2 or more newly promoted teams to be relegated at 1.9 odds. Sunderland to finish bottom at 2.75 odds. Chelsea to win the opening 3 games at 4.33 odds. Ollie Watkins Golden Boot at 29 odds. Bruno Fernandes most assists at 10 odds, and then Šeško to be United's top goal scorer at 2.0 odds as well. So I'll go through those. I'll explain why I'm making those selections, and then also give the odds again and the book I've got them on. So the first one, was Manchester City to win the Premier League and Manchester City to win one or more major trophy. So as you can see a little bit here, Man City had a down season last year. I'm obviously going to expect them to improve a lot this year, especially with sort of the new additions into the team. Let's see if we can see the player. There you go. So the players that they've added into the team. That's handy, innit? It's not coming up straight away. They've got a very deep squad anyway. This is obviously from last year, isn't it? Oh, there we go. Ryan Cherky there, a new addition. This isn't going well, is it? They've added a few good players. Why are they not coming up? Oh, that's just backfired completely. But again, they've got a lot of new additions, a lot of new additions this year. A lot on attack, on sort of the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, Oitnuri coming in at left back. So yeah, I'm expecting them to have an up year this year compared to last season's down year. Obviously, Haaland being back to full fitness would be a huge boost. Obviously, he wasn't at the top of his game last year in terms of goals scored. 22 goals scored is obviously decent, but he did miss a fair few goals. He probably could have caught Salah for most goals last year if he had finished the season. But Man City have consistently been a decent team, especially in the Premier League in recent years, the FA Cup in recent years, and the EFL Cup as well. They've actually won the FA Cup twice in the last 6 years, and they've reached the final in back-to-back years. They also reached the semi-finals in the other 2 seasons as well. So in the last 6 years, they've reached the semi-finals or better within the FA Cup. They've also been very, very successful in the League Cup as well. Why is that coming up now? They've also been very successful in the League Cup as well, winning 4 times in the last 6 seasons, and obviously semi-finals in the other 2 as well. So consistently getting into the semi-finals of both of the domestic cups, and they've also won the Premier League in 5 of the last 7 seasons. So I'm going to go mental if that does again. So yeah, won the Premier League in 5 of the last 7 seasons. So all in all, Man City have won 12 trophies, ranging from the FA Cup, EFL Cup, Champions League, all the Premier League in the last 6 years. So that averages 2 titles or cups in every season. So this year, for them to win the Premier League is my outright Premier League prediction, and I'm also going for them to win one or more major trophy. Based on the fact that they're constantly always in and around the finals of a lot of domestic trophies as well. For Aston Villa, I'm going to go for them to get another top 6 finish. Obviously, they're very, very strong contenders within this sort of area. As you can see, the points very competitive last year between 4th and 8th place. Aston Villa actually nearly had the opportunity to get into 4th place, but just missed out on the final few weeks. They're obviously very strong contenders to finish in the Champions League places every year, which is the top 5 now. Top 5 places get Champions League. They haven't really recruited too many new players, but they still kept a solid core and a solid group of performers from last year. Always a solid team at home. That allows them to accumulate a lot of decent points from home games, and obviously puts them in a good position to come in the top 6. You've got Rodgers and you've got Watkins, who are looking to link up. You see Watkins there with 16 goals. It doesn't go any lower, but Morgan Rodgers got a fair few goals and assists as well. And those 2 are looking to lift the Villains up into the 6th place again. I'm predicting they finish in 5th, but I do think top 6 is a decent outright look, especially at odds of 2.5 as well. 2 or more newly promoted teams to be relegated. As you can see here, Leicester, Ipswich and Southampton were the 3 teams that came up from last year. All 3 went back down, and that's been the case in the last 2 seasons. All promoted teams have gone straight back down. Historically, 60% of the teams promoted will return to the Championship. That means an average of 2 of the 3 promoted teams per season will be relegated each year. All 3 promoted teams don't look good enough, in my opinion, and I don't think they'll be able to contend with the Premier League this season. Sunderland being the worst rated of the 3 promoted teams, so that obviously is the reason why I'm going for 2 or more newly promoted teams to be relegated and Sunderland to finish bottom. Now, this next one's a little bit juicy, so we're going to go for Chelsea to win in 3 games. So we're going to go for, can we see fixtures? Let's get fixtures. Oh, fucking hell. Right. Premier League fixtures for Chelsea for the first 3 games. Here we are. So week 1, Crystal Palace. Week 2, West Ham. Week 3, Fulham. So we've got 3 London derbies in effect. So opening 2 home games against Palace and Fulham, and then obviously in between that, a game against West Ham, which is going to be out away. So last year they played 19 home games, and they won 12, drew 5, and lost just 2. So they scored 35 goals and conceded 18 at home. So these 2 games here looking very favourable already. When you break it down a little bit again, against Crystal Palace between 2020 and 2025, they've won 8, lost 2, scored 22, and conceded 6. So again, very favourable matchup against Crystal Palace here. Going down to the other home game against Fulham. Again, since 2020 to 2025, won 5, drew 1, lost 2, scored 10 and conceded 5. Obviously, Fulham were not in the Premier League in 2021, so there was no Premier League matches in that season. And then moving on to the away game against West Ham, again, between 2020 and 2025, played 10, won 7, drew 1, lost 2, scored 21, conceded 9. So again, 3 favourable matchups for Chelsea. They got a very good sort of starting 10 fixtures, as I mentioned in the fantasy side of things. But for Chelsea to win these 3 games is very favourable. Some nice odds as well at 4.33. I think they can get the job done. I think they could possibly win the first, quite a lot of these first 10 games. So at least getting these first 3 is the bet for us. And then we're going to go for Ollie Watkins for the Golden Boot. This is obviously a long shot bet. There's not too many sort of stats to go with this one. But he had, let's have a look here. So goals last year, he had the 7th most with 16. But obviously, for them to finish in the top 6, like the other bet said before, they're going to need Ollie Watkins to be in his best form. He's in very, very good preseason form. He's got 4 goals in 4 games. Obviously, he's an outsider chance at Golden Boot. Obviously, 28 to 1 are the odds. But obviously, the obvious choice this year is going to be Haaland or Mohamed Salah. Isak isn't sort of going to be in the running at the moment. He's looking a bit dodgy. Is he going to be playing for Liverpool or Newcastle or neither? Chris Wood is obviously always up there. Mbeumo, Wissa. Wissa's obviously unknown with Brentford. Is he going to Newcastle or is he staying at Brentford? Mbeumo as well at Man United. I don't think he's going to have another 20-goal season. So Ollie Watkins could obviously leapfrog quite a few of these and be very competitive in the goal-scoring category this year. And then is it the final? No, it's not. The second to last one, Bruno most assists. So you can see here he had 10, but he had the joint 4th most assists from any player in the Premier League last year. He's obviously Man United's talisman. He puts the team on his back, but he's the most creative player in the Premier League. So Bruno Fernandes. He leads the Premier League in both 2023-24 season and the 24-25 season for chances created. He's got 2 chances created in the last 2 seasons. Obviously now he's got some new signings at Man United to sort of to get more assists, if you like. He's got Cunha, Mbeumo and now Šeško combined for 47 goals last year for Man United, when Man United themselves as a team only scored 44 in total. So again, he's got more of an upside this year for more assists. So Bruno most assists in the league at 10.00 odds. And then I'm going to go for the new guy of Man United as well, Šeško, to be United's new top goal scorer. Obviously, he's the new guy for Man United. He's added a lot of firepower. Finally got a decent number 9 striker. Obviously for Bruno, Cunha, Ahmad and Mbeumo, they can all feed him some goals. Ahmad and Bruno last year were United's top goal scorers with 8 each, and they were playing from like a wider and a deeper roles within the team. Højlund himself, playing the number 9, had 4 goals. I think Šeško is a lot better than Højlund. He should get on the end of a lot of balls. He's got a lot of creative players around him to help him score goals. So he's in a very good position to succeed this year. So I think him to be United's top goal scorer is looking likely, and that's going to be at odds of 2.00. So just a little rundown on those. The full list of outright bets for next season. Where are they now? Let's go back to my list. Man City to win the Premier League at 4.00 odds. Man City to win one or more major trophy at 1.9 odds. Villa top 6 finish at 2.5 odds. 2 or more newly promoted teams to be relegated at 1.9 odds. Sunderland finish bottom at 2.75 odds. Chelsea to win the opening 3 games at 4.33 odds. Watkins Golden Boot at 29.00 odds. Bruno most assists at 10.0 odds. And Šeško, United's top goal scorer, at 2.00 odds as well. Okay, so let's move on to the game week 1 bets for this week. I haven't got too many. I've sort of honed in on a few that I'm really comfortable with. So I've got 4 sort of normal bets, and I've got 1 ACCA as well, which is a bit of a long shot for the first opening week, but I feel like it's got a lot of legs. So we'll go through from top to bottom anyway. Starting off with this game on the Friday, Liverpool v Bournemouth, 8 o'clock kickoff. As you can see there, Liverpool 72% win probability. But the bet for me is going to be Liverpool and Bournemouth, both teams to score, and that's going to be odds of 1.75. Basically, nothing much to go off for this kind of game, but with Liverpool playing a few games pre-season, they've actually conceded in all of their pre-season games. They've played in 6 pre-season games. They played Preston, where they won 3-1, lost 4-2 against AC Milan, won 3-1 against Yokohama, 4-1 against Atletico Bilbao, and then 3-2 against Bilbao on the same night, and then they lost 3-2 on penalties against Crystal Palace in the Community Shield a few days ago. So they haven't been sort of solid. I know you obviously in pre-season you rotate a lot, but looking at the last sort of 5 games within the Premier League last year as well, they conceded in all of those games. They drew 1-1, 3-2, 2-2, 3-1, 5-1. 1-1-0, then there's a 2-1, there's a 3-2 again. So there's a lot of games where they conceded against obviously lesser opponents: Brighton, Palace, Tottenham, Leicester, Fulham. So Bournemouth are going to be relatively comfortable in playing in this game. The only downside for this bet for me is Bournemouth haven't really been too good against Liverpool in recent years. Looking at their head-to-head, especially in the last 3 games, they haven't actually scored in the last 3 head-to-head games, but they did score in the 2 before those 2. But again, most recent games for Bournemouth have been touch and go, playing a fair few friendlies. If you like, they've actually played quite a lot. They've played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 friendlies. So 2-1 win against Hibernian, 6-2 win against Bristol City, 3-0 win against Everton, 4-1 loss against Man United. They lost 2-0 against West Ham, 1-1 against Real Sociedad, and then 0-0 against Real Sociedad in the same day. So they've managed to score quite a few goals in pre-season. I expect that for them to sort of carry over into this game. So I think Liverpool are going to have a little bit of teething problems with all their new signings, even though their attack looks really good. Their defence didn't look that good against Crystal Palace. I think Bournemouth are going to be one of those teams that are going to have to score goals to try and succeed in this league. And obviously, what better way to start the Premier League season with a high-scoring affair, both teams to score. So that's going to be the bet for me for the opening game. It's going to be both teams to score in the Liverpool and Bournemouth game at odds of 1.75. And then we're going to go on to the next game that's scheduled, which is going to be the early kickoff on the Saturday, the 16th of August. Pretty much even in this. 41% for Villa, 32% for Newcastle. Obviously, it's the early kickoff. And you know the old saying goes, never back the early kickoff. But I am actually going to back Aston Villa to win this game. And it's going to be down to, well, a lot of this is going to be down to Newcastle not having too much of a good time in this off season, to be honest. Played a fair few friendlies, played 6 friendlies. They are yet to win one. They lost 4-0 against Celtic, 3-2 against Arsenal, lost 1-0 against the K-League All-Stars, drew 1-1 against Tottenham, drew 2-2 against Espanyol, and lost 2-0 against Atletico Madrid. That is mainly down to the fact they do not have Isak in the team. They're playing with a lot of different strikers up front. So they're playing with Harvey Barnes up front. They've tried Asula up front. The next game they played Gordon up front. They've played Asula again, Analanga up front. So they're trying to figure out a way to sort of get a forward and an attacking player, a goal scoring player in a goal scoring opportunity, and they just can't do it. They can't score. They scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 goals in 6 games in pre-season. So they're having really a lot of struggles on offense. And then on the other side of the ball, Aston Villa are very, very good, especially at home. They've played 8 pre-season games. They did lose the first 2. One of them was against Walsall and Rostock as well. And then they drew 2-2 against Frankfurt, won 2-0 against St. Louis City, 2-2 against Nashville, 4-0 against Roma, lost 3-1 against Marseille, and then won 2-0 against Villarreal. As I said before, Ollie Watkins is in very, very good goal scoring rhythm. He's actually scored 4 in his last 4 games. And they just look all around a lot better, even though they haven't sort of recruited too many new players, or they haven't recruited many notable players. I think Aston Villa being at home against a sort of a bit of a struggling offensive Newcastle team, I think they can get the win. It's a plus money play. So Aston Villa money line at 2.3 odds is the play for the early kickoff on Saturday. And then moving down to the next game, which is going to be on Saturday. 3 o'clock Saturday, we're going to go to Sunderland and West Ham, so one of the newly promoted teams. Again, odds very, very similar. So it's going to be at the Stadium of Light in Sunderland. But the bet for me is going to be Sunderland and West Ham, both teams to score, odds of 1.7. So this is a bit of a controversial one in my opinion, but I like it somewhat. West Ham have had a really bad defense last season, and they haven't really looked good in pre-season either. Looking at their pre-season stats, West Ham, they've conceded in 4 of their 5 pre-season games, only keeping a clean sheet against Bournemouth. But they have won a few games as well after conceding first. But on the other side, obviously Sunderland are the newcomers. But West Ham conceded 62 goals and kept only 5 clean sheets last year. Sunderland played well on attack last season. They scored 63 goals, so very similar. With West Ham conceding 62, Sunderland scored 63. I think they should look to exploit the weaker West Ham defence in this game. Sunderland obviously were fairly decent on defence last year, conceded an average of 0.9 goals per game, and they kept 14 clean sheets, which is relatively low because they play 46 games in the season. West Ham actually ranked 15th for goals scored, but they ended the season a lot better than they started, averaging 1.2 goals scored per game on the season. West Ham have scored 5 out of 5 games in pre-season, scoring a total of 10. Jared Bowen obviously looks to lead the line this year. The full crew has played well pre-season as well, but Jared Bowen has contributed to 3 goals in the last 4 games. Both teams are going to look to exploit each other's defences. Sunderland being the newcomers, West Ham are going to sort of want to show them that the Premier League is a lot harder than the Championship, and Sunderland are going to want to take everything to West Ham and hopefully get a goal for both teams. Both of them are going to be in a little bit of a relegation battle, so they could use this game to sort of start on a front foot, get a bit of momentum, and try and get a few goals to start the season well. So the bet is Sunderland and West Ham, both teams to score at 1.7 odds. And then we're going to go to the final day of the week. It's going to be Monday. So it's a Monday night game. Leeds versus Everton. So again, another newcomer. Leeds are actually favoured on the win probability, but again, only slightly, 37%, 33% for Everton. But for me, the bet is going to be under 2.5 goals at 1.7 odds. Both teams very statistically good last year, especially on defence. Everton had 12 clean sheets while conceded the 8th lowest amount of goals. 14 Everton games went over 2.5 goals, so that's 36% went over, so obviously 63% going under, which is very favourable for this bet. Leeds, on the other hand, 21 clean sheets, which is 45% of their games. They conceded just 27 goals in 46 games. 21 of their 46 games going over 2.5 goals, which is 46% to the over. So obviously 54% to the under. Both teams should focus on defending rather than attacking this game, especially sort of Everton's attack being fairly poor. Not really much improved on last season, obviously getting Jack Grealish. Unknown whether he's going to start. Same for Dewsbury Hall. Leeds should focus on the defensive side. Obviously, that's their focal point. That was their strong point last season. Defence first, attack second. So them looking to be defensively solid against a weaker Everton team looks to be the play. And obviously, Everton being very defensively solid against Leeds' decent attack as well. Both teams should be looking for points in their first game, and I think they both get a point each in this game. I think it's going to end 1-1. So I'm going to go for Leeds and Everton under 2.5 goals at odds of 1.7. So there's the 4 bets. Liverpool, Bournemouth, both teams to score. Aston Villa money line. Leeds and Everton under 2.5 goals. Sunderland, West Ham, both teams to score. And then I'm going to do a draw no bet 4-fold ACCA as well. So we're going to go across the weekend. The first one is going to be Aston Villa moneyline. Aston Villa draw no bet, sorry. So as I mentioned before, I think Aston Villa get the win, but keeping them fairly safe with a draw no bet means you get your stake back if the game does end in a draw. The second leg for this is going to be West Ham. Again, mentioned before, I think it's going to be both teams are going to be scoring in this game. I think West Ham are slightly favoured, and I think they should be slightly favoured, being the longer Premier League team. Obviously, attacking wise, doing fairly well in pre-season, so I think they can sort of snatch a win. With the draw no bet being the little safety blanket. The next one for me is going to be on the Sunday, and that's going to be the Nottingham and Brentford game. I think Nottingham Forest can get the draw, at least at minimum. I think Brentford are going to struggle a little bit without their old manager. Obviously, Wissa unknown if he's going to be playing. No Mbeumo as well. Shad is also on the injury list as well, so their attack is looking a little bit slim. Nottingham Forest haven't played too well on offense in pre-season, but they are very defensively solid, so I think they can at least get the draw, and I think they can snatch a win as well. Obviously with Chris Wood, Morgan Gibbs-White, Callum Hudson-Odoi as well. And then the final leg is going to be Manchester United against Arsenal, and it's going to be Manchester United draw no bet. Obviously, Arsenal are favoured, been very, very good in the Premier League over the last couple of years, but they have struggled somewhat at Old Trafford over the past 10 years or so. Man United, new look team, a lot of new offensive weapons, looking really, really well in pre-season as well, where Arsenal have looked a little bit sluggish in the pre-season tour. It's going to be a very competitive game. Obviously, Arsenal being very defensively solid, but I think they're going to struggle against this new look Man United team led by Bruno and co. And I think Man United can get at least the draw, and hopefully get the win for this bet to cash. So the 4-fold draw no bet, Aston Villa draw no bet, West Ham draw no bet, Nottingham Forest draw no bet, and Man United draw no bet. That's going to be at 9.7 odds, so a nice long shot bet for us to kick off the season. Okay, so that takes us to the end of this episode. Nice and long one to open the season. Obviously, they won't all be this long, but we had a lot to get through within this episode. Obviously, with the competition winners, breaking down the final sort of fantasy football for the fan team contest, and then obviously the future bets and the weekly bets as well for this upcoming week. So appreciate everyone for listening so long. It will be time stamped as well, so if you want to skip back to certain parts you missed or certain parts you want to listen to again, it will be time stamped at the bottom for the chapters. And yeah, so congratulations to those 5 winners for the competition. There they are there: Peter Brooks, Stefan Woody, Trackstar G, John Skoo, and Stu there, the winners. Make sure you get into the DMs, drop in the DMs and drop your fan team user ID number, and I'll get the ticket sent over. Obviously, hopefully I've helped you out with obviously a lot of the guides that I've dropped. Reminder that you can go to my Twitter. My pinned tweet has every single episode there linked, so you can just click the link and it'll send you over to whichever one you listen to. Again, they're all timestamped, so you can skip to which part you need. Or you can just obviously go over to the YouTube, type in Elite Wages, I'll come up at the top. You can watch my shorts there, which are little quick recap guides for basically for the longer episodes. If you do want to listen to the full episodes, they're there as well. You've got the audio when it comes up, you've got the audio sections there, and you've got the video ones there as well. So everything is there, all available for everyone to listen to or to watch whenever, wherever, however, with whoever. But I do ask everyone to, follow me on Twitter, like, retweet, share, subscribe on YouTube, share and everything on there. The more people that this gets out to, the more people that I can help win money in the betting side and in the fantasy football as well. So hopefully I've set you all up for a nice fantasy football season, and I can set you up for the betting side as well. So next week it'll be next Thursday. I'll try and get these out every Thursday, ready for the weekend. I'll obviously do a little recap on the season-long contest, any subs or strategies to go by. I'll probably be doing the EPL Monster each week as well, so I'll get that summarised for everyone as well, and then obviously a few bet selections each week as well. So appreciate everyone for listening. I'm going to sign off. Good luck to everyone in the fantasy contest, and good luck to everyone on the Premier League season. Let's get